Today on the Howard Dare channel, shocking evidence that men are turning into women, manginas, and how to avoid this fate. Hello MGTOW, hello men, this is Howard Dare, thanks for stopping by. So, this is a rather shocking subject, so just prepare yourselves. I want to talk about men turning into women. Invasion of the manginas, because that's what we're looking at, and that's the danger. It's not just that women follow their nature and their instinct, and it perpetuates all throughout society, that they're essentially unthinking creatures in this capacity. But what's even worse is the men who worship them and serve them and then adopt their values and their behaviors. So then the whole society and the whole culture is judging things by this female standard. All this virtue signaling, the most important thing to do here is to uplift the least privileged among us. Do you want to live in a society where someone might be suffering? It's like, come on, the person hasn't taken care of themselves. I'm sorry. And how do we deplete all the suffering? It's, this crazy childlike, instinctual, nurturing instinct just gone crazy. And you can understand that the women actually engage in this stuff, and they lack the ability to be self-critical. But then they go into society, they go into culture, they say, we're the equal of men, even though we're not based on reason. We demand equal, representation in the engineering department, even though we can't do math. It's bad enough. But then a large percentage of the men within the society who want to get together with the women, they agree with them. They say, yes, we concur. That's right. And if we meet up with one of those men that don't go along with this, that seem to assert their own individual views in the world, they're getting fired. If we meet somebody who's actually competitive towards what they want and asserts themselves, they're getting fired. We don't need that kind of person here. We need only group people here. So the men adopt those values. And then the women give them the approval in the workplace. That's why your human resources department is run by women. That's why political correctness is running so rampant throughout our society. Because the men themselves adopt these values. They become manginas. And to be honest, this is what I was talking about in my image of the beast, worshiping the image of the beast. The man just gives up his reason, he goes on his instinct, and he worships the women. And he becomes a mangina, he becomes a woman. He acts like a woman, he gets soft like a woman, he interacts like a woman, he becomes all emotional. And this is what's happening throughout our whole society. Look at some of the footage, of people in the 70s. They're lean. They're lean, they're trim, they're muscular, and they look healthy, and they seem to have normal, reasonable interactions. Now look at the people interacting today. They're overweight, they're obese. The women walk around like giant human hens, clucking around, using their sexuality to get their jobs and to manipulate men. The men who just worship and follow them around and agree with them. And that's what's running our society. So if you want to be a strong, independent, self-reliant man, you're going to stand out like a sore thumb. You're going to stand out like a rooster in a hen house. And I'm sorry to tell you this, guys, but you're either going to have to become that alpha, okay? That supreme alpha. Or you're going to have to become a mangina that worships the women, or you're going to have to become an alpha in waiting. Now, I can't use that term, can I? Yeah, you guys will, some of the MGTOW will get mad at me. They'll say, Howard, you're not allowed to use that term, We shun the idea of the alpha. You need to be the alpha in your own life, okay? Independent of this gynocentric system. Independent of everything around you. That's the goal. And the rest of the world wants the man to worship the women. That's how you get ahead. You put out those signals, and the other men in that mode, they accept you. You put out this other signal that you're an independent man, and they shun you. So it's a risky strategy. Now, let me give you some anecdotal evidence, and consider the men that you know that are with women. Here's the thing. Consider the mangina, the man who is living by female standards. Of course, they're male, and they can be strong and fit and healthy. But the more they're with the women, the harder that becomes. The more they adopt the woman's sensibilities, the woman's outlook. And I'm noticing this pattern in some men, and I swear it's like they've got their period. It's like every month or so, these guys just start misbehaving or start behaving really poorly, really emotionally. And it's really unsettling, you know what I mean, as a man, to suddenly start dealing with another man who's acting like a woman. And I'm not suggesting that the man is actually, well, I don't know what it is. I don't know if it is a combination of, or rather the lower testosterone, the higher estrogen that the man is going to adopt when he's, if he's like in the constant company of a woman, and the fact that he's adopting the female sensibilities, and I'm thinking maybe he's mimicking her behavior. You know what I mean? He recognizes that, oh, it's that time, or at least on some, unconscious, subconscious level, and that he himself then starts behaving in this manner. So physically, actually adopting female physiology, the femocracy, female supremacy, female domination of society, all branches of it. Because even the men within the society, within these systems that men have built, those men worship the women. They adopt these female qualities. And it even has to do with their diet. The foods they eat, the starchy, fast-acting, processed carbohydrates, the sugars, the easy lifestyle that, modern civilization affords lends to it as well. Because I think I must be dealing with some married guys in my comment section. Because some of them, they just go crazy every once in a while, and I don't want to be an asshole, but at the same time, I'm not going to deal with a man who's acting like a woman. I don't want to deal with a woman, right? So the idea that I'm going to deal with a man who's acting like a woman? I mean, if you want to talk about the origins, okay, of bullying in school, right? It's like, that's what it is. They're picking on the weak, the sickly. They're picking on the ones that have it wrong. Yeah, lately I've got people trying to tell me, what I'm allowed to say and what I'm not allowed to say, forbidden topics and things like that. Censorship. It truly is. And, what I think is going on is I think you're dealing with somebody who has been proselytized, who's become an agent of the system. And if you as a man start to speak out in their company, they're like, hey, you need to tone that down. You better not be disagreeing with people in authority. Otherwise, I'm gonna, have to tell, you really don't understand what's going on here. You don't understand the day and age that we're living in. You're still looking to some outside authority, some rule book, some overarching thing that's going to be telling you what to do. You just want to fit into some group or something like that. No, you have to be your own man. You have to be your own leader, okay? And you don't get to tell me shit, right? And if you try to tell me anything without me having asked you, or without being like a real expert in the field, you're just like some egotistical, misguided child that's like offering advice where it wasn't asked for. Like you might as well go up to a brain surgeon and tell him what to do when you don't know jack shit about being a brain surgeon, right? And I'm trying to be nice about it. I don't want to be confrontational. I want to be friendly about it. But the man is acting like a woman. And as I said, I won't even deal with the woman, let alone a man who's acting like it. It's disgusting. It offends me on a really deep personal level. It's almost like if I was walking out in the wild with this guy and he was acting like that, it's almost like, wow, watch your step there, buddy. And I mean, it's from men. It's from men who want to please women, or who are so directly tied to women that they have the woman's sensibilities and the woman's clock and the woman's rhythms going on within them. And it's affecting them emotionally, psychologically. And then they go and they want to start interacting with other men like that. So that's my personal anecdotal evidence, regarding men turning into women, or invasion of the manginas, right? Like trying to tell some other man what to do. You guys don't understand freedom of speech. You don't understand freedom itself. And I find this shocking. And I also understand that depending on how you were raised, you're just going to assume certain behaviors are completely natural. And depending on what type of a government system you were raised in, you are just going to assume certain behavior is somewhat natural. If you were raised in a monarchy, okay, there's going to be this kind of deference to authority within you, and at the same time, there's going to be this kind of really nasty rebelliousness within you, just kind of this kind of personal meanness, resentfulness that I've noticed, this kind of snobbery, this kind of contemptuousness, this kind of pettiness. And I can understand, I mean, yeah, if you're forced to bow down on your knee to somebody that you don't respect simply because they're blood royal, they bear the insignia, and you have to do it, and everybody in your society has to do it, and they do it, and if you don't, you're in a lot of trouble. Okay, so you do it. And then when you meet up with somebody that you don't respect or that you think is trying to put on airs, you hold them in, all that contempt that you wanted to express to your authority figure, but you couldn't, or maybe even your parent, but you couldn't, or maybe your teacher, but you couldn't, or maybe your boss, but you couldn't. And so, it comes out in a stranger. It comes out even in the conversation that you're having within your own mind, which is what's, largely determining your success and things like that. Anyway, I've veered off topic, okay? So I really want to start to talk about personal development and the man becoming strong in a society that wants him to be a servant and wants him to be a slave. And the moment that he tries to assert himself comes down on him from all levels, even the other men within the society. And, I really want to help men see that asserting themselves and finding their own way in this modern age where the internet is at your disposal, that's the way to go. It's not so important to find fault in the world and in the situation that you're in as it is to simply work your way out of these difficult situations. There can be all kinds of problems going on to the right of you. There can be all kinds of problems going on to the left of you. But you can find this one single path through all this bullshit and all these people where you're coming out strong, fit, healthy, and happy at the end of it. This idea that some other man is going to tell me what to do, it reveals the internal state of the other man, is what it reveals. It's like, no, Howard, this is all going to come crashing down and civilization is going to destroy itself. It's like, well, I'm sorry you feel that way. I'm sorry that there isn't anything here that you would want to protect, that you want to build, but you don't get to rule over other people. So that's what I mean. That's how misguided it is. If somebody comes to you and says, hey, help me out here, give me some advice here, fine. If you want to put your views out to the world, fine. But you want to find fault with somebody and talk shit with somebody and try to act like you can tell them what to do, well, then you're acting like a bitch. You have bitch brain. You have become a mangina. Because I don't care. Why should I? And I don't want you guys to fucking care about that shit. I want you guys to be able to just assert yourselves. To have the thing that you want, to see it, to be locked on it, and to move through this world and move past all the bullshit and all the obstacles and all the manginas and all the whores. And there's a whole bunch of different types of whores out there, people. There's gold-digging whores, there's backstabbing whores, there's cheating whores, there's lying whores. So recognize that. Recognize that the men are also doing it. Recognize that this behavior is the requirement for government work and group approval. Yeah, sorry, man, I'm not part of the group. Yeah, I don't know what to tell you, bro. Yeah, I'm not official MGTOW. Sorry, bro. Yeah, guess what I'm doing? Like, I don't go into other people's channels and try to tell them what to say or what to do. I don't do that. I just say what I have to say here on my channel. And I don't slander and find fault personally with other people. Don't try to tear down your fellow man and then thereby act like you're building yourself up. Screw that. Go build yourself up and do it without apologies. Don't hurt anybody. Don't be an idiot, but go after it. About men turning into women. You can see it when the man is adopting the female values and attitudes, and when another man expresses, some sort of disagreement with that idea, the man will say, but men and women are equal, and the man will say, no, men are responsible for 95% of all human progress. Women just give birth. There's no great women poets or explorers or any of those things. And then the man will, talk about one or two, right? Like, well, what about Joan of Arc? Yeah, right. What about Madame Curie? Like, yeah, okay, fine, right? So there's one, there's two, and here's a few others. And don't talk about the author of Harry Potter. Just don't do that. It's so retarded that somebody would actually do that, It's like they don't know how stupid they are. So you can see this behavior of adopting the female values. And it's belittling and insulting to the male, right? It's like, no, buddy, you're part of the group that has driven 95% of all human history, okay? You're not some idiot, retarded worker drone slave. That's not what you are, whose only value is handing your money over some fat, ungrateful bitch. And it's enforced by all these other fat, mangina men that worship the woman. Somewhere in there is the great beast and the great whore. Anyway, I'm definitely going to leave it at that. So let me know what you think about this in the comments section below. Please like, share, comment, subscribe, donate, and join me again, Howard Dare, as I plan to have more content for you. Thank you, MGTOW.